REDX channel. Today I have Tyler Fenn with me, and again we are actually going to be talking about teams. We know it's been a hot topic, but there is a reason why, and it's been a game changer in the industry, and we're seeing that so many agents are on a team. We need to have our platform built in a way to help them to succeed on that team, right? So let's talk about the why of why teams. Why are we focusing so much on it? Why did we release it? Why did we put so much work into it for so many years?
So that's a really, really good place to start. I think that real estate has gone through this cycle, right? If you look back at the 80s and the 90s, the office was run the way that teams are run now, right? So in the 80s and 90s and even into the 2000s, you had a broker, and that broker had an administrative staff, and they were there to support the individual agents. And then I think in the 2000s and through the 2010s, we saw like the rise of the solo agent for a while.
Right.
Is you had these mega agents who were just killing it, right? And they went off, and pretty soon you saw through, especially through the 2000s, you saw broker splits becoming less lucrative for the brokers themselves. And so we kind of saw this rise of the solo agent, but we're back to, in the last 6 or 7 or 8 years, we're kind of back to this team model, but it's not being done as commonly at the office level. It's being done at a team level. So you have a team lead who's a producing agent, or at least was a producing agent and is now just managing a team. And that agent is hiring people to specialize in certain tasks. Right. And so ideally, when you join a team because they have systems in place that allow you to focus on the client-facing portion of your business. So a team often will have marketers or transaction coordinators or VAs or ISAs, right? People that are handling all of the minutia of a transaction,
right,
and all the minutia of maintaining and engaging with a database, so that the agents themselves who are in production can focus on being in front of people.
Yeah.
Because real estate agents make money when they're in front of people.
Right.
Period. Right. And so a great team, that's how that's structured. For years, REDX, our product was designed for the individual agent. Mm-hmm. And that's still a specialty of ours and will continue to be, right? But yeah, recently we released this team platform that makes it easy for teams to collaborate and share data and see what's happening with the prospects as they move through the prospecting process. But more important than that, Allison, I think that the key to our team's platform is not the platform itself, but it's the training that we provide to teams.
Love that. The training is incredibly valuable. There's 3 parts to the training, right? So let's break down those 3 parts. The first one is the prospecting bootcamp. Talk about that. I know you're heavily involved in it.
I'm heavily involved, yes.
So if you do prospecting bootcamp, you're going to see Tyler.
Yeah. Sorry that you have to deal with me more than once. So prospecting bootcamp is it's exactly what it sounds like, right? It's a 3-day intensive, it's a crash course to prospecting with REDX. And somebody should be able to attend prospecting bootcamp and walk away from that feeling confident that they can get started on the right foot, right? We're not digging into NLP. We're not digging into deep lead follow-up strategies. It's very much like get the bare necessity, but the bare essential information that you need to go out and start confidently. Awesome. That's the key there. And so it's awesome. We go over, there's some tech training. We get into Vortex and we look at how to use that. I share some best practices and things of how to leverage that well. We do live prospecting for a day where we have, usually Kent Brown comes in, he prospects live and, shows people that, look, it's really not a scary thing to be getting in front of these people. And then on day 3, we talk marketing tactics because we've got things like Ad Builder, we've got things like postcards, all built into Vortex. So we talk about how to leverage all of that to work together. So bootcamp is like, it's the crash course. It's let's get started on the right foot, right?
I love that. So let's talk about the next one. The next part of the training is the live role play system, which if a little bit about me. Years ago, I worked on the customer support team, and I was on those calls doing the live role play with our clients. And it was actually one of the funnest things that I did in that position here. because I got to just kind of get into the nitty gritty of like, okay, what are you struggling with in your cold calls, and talking about that. And then practicing it with them and just kind of, getting into that nitty gritty.
Yeah.
What have you seen has been super helpful with that?
Here's the biggest mistake that I see people make, and anytime they do something new in their business, right? Because everything has a learning curve.
Right.
Everything requires getting past the initial fear and uncertainty and confusion, and it requires practice, right? I mean, if you have ever been on my boot camps, or which I know that you have, Allison, or in any of my trainings, in the master classes that I teach, any of this, I talk so much about how important it is to set aside time to intentionally practice the skills necessary to support the business that you want. Right. And I think too often we go, oh, well, I'll figure it out as I go. And there's value in that, right? There's value in just getting in and getting started. Yeah. But there's also this huge, huge advantage that comes when you actually sit down and intentionally focus on a skill. Right. And as adults, we don't do that as often. When we're kids, that's really, really natural, right? We're going to ride a bike and we're going to fall over a dozen times or 1,000 times until we get it right. But as adults, we're like, if I don't get it on the first try, I'm probably not going to try much harder after that.
Or it gets embarrassing.
Right? The reality is we have to practice, and the role play system makes it easy to do that. Mm-hmm. It's not the only thing people should be doing, but it's one of the things that people should be doing to practice. And so the role play system is awesome because people call in, and then using the touch tone on their phone, they get to designate the lead type that they're going to role play and the difficulty of the role play, right? So they can go, hey, I want to prospect expireds. I want to practice expireds, and I want it to be easy, right? Yeah. And whether it's easy or hard, and this is something that we're not shy about, we let people win every time. Like it will result in you getting the listing appointment every time because we want you to get used to winning.
Exactly.
We're not gonna just lay down and give it to you, but especially if you choose the difficult setting, right? We're gonna make you work for it, but we're gonna let you win every time. After that, you get a recording of that you can review, that you can share with a coach or a trainer or a mentor or role play partner, whatever you want to do with that. But it's so valuable because you call in, you practice with a real person. And after you go through that initial setup on the touch tone on your phone, when it rings to a person in our call center, it rings. They know it's a role play call. So when they answer as an expired listing or as a GeoLead or whatever. So it's so cool. And I think it's one of those things that's like so underutilized.
Yes.
I wish people would use it more because that intentional practice is hugely, hugely important.
Absolutely. I also feel like one of the benefits of the role play system is it mimics actually cold calling like nothing else. You can sit down and role play with an agent all day long. Which is a great tactic too.
Yeah, it's one of them that you should use.
Exactly. You can stand in front of the mirror and role play and all that kind of stuff, right? But doing it through our role play system mimics calling someone and talking to a stranger on the phone. They don't know who we are. Sure, we work for REDX, but I don't know. When I was doing it, I didn't know who I was talking to besides their name, and vice versa. They didn't know who I was, and it's still that. It is a little bit of that intimidating factor, but a little bit of a safety net of know it's practice at the same time. Like it helps to kind of overcome that fear to just get started. Making the first call is the hardest part. And sometimes just getting on and doing a role play to get that first awkward phone call out of the way, get it done. You're good. You got it. Okay, now go jump on the phones and go make some real calls. Can really be beneficial. So I love that.
Yeah, the role play system is awesome.
That's awesome. Let's talk about the third training system, which is the REDX University. What is REDX University?
So REDX University it's an online portal where you can view a tremendous amount of information. And the vast majority of them are free. People have access to it easily, and it's self-paced learning specific to a topic. So you could jump in there. I want to learn about expireds, and there's courses all about expireds or GeoLeads or for rent by owners, and there's courses that are in there that talk about mindset and goal setting and all kinds of things. And And so that self-paced learning, I think, is really, really important. Nowadays, we focus so much on content creation, right? Like here we are creating content, right?
Yes.
But content creation doesn't matter without the consumption side also. And when we spend time deliberately focused on the consumption of that content, that's when our knowledge and our skill set is going to grow. And so spending time, whether it's in the car or sitting at your desk or while you're jogging on the treadmill or whatever it is, to have some of these modules going in the background is awesome. So it's REDX University is a really great place for people to jump in there and take their knowledge and their experience to the next level easily.
I love that. So some of the topics that it covers is going to be like lead types, prospecting in general. Is there scripts? Like what's kind of all in there?
Yes.
All of it.
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah. And we add to it regularly.
That's awesome.
Things like prospecting bootcamp. When somebody attends a bootcamp, the recordings are automatically uploaded to their REDX University, and they can always go back and review those. There's all kinds of stuff that's in there. And the vast majority of it is absolutely free. You log into Vortex, click the REDX University icon, and it takes you in there. And there's, so much material that people could consume, and all the better for it.
And again, probably very underutilized in a lot of ways. So this has been a great conversation, Tyler. I love that not only do we have this Teams system set in place that in previous videos, we've talked about the lead types, we've talked about Pulse and being able to track the accountability of your team, but the training. You and I talking before we started this, that a lot of leaders in teams, they don't have the time to sit down and train every team member. And this training that we offer is just incredibly valuable for them to be successful in their team.
Yeah. So I had a neat conversation one time with a team leader who, she said, I wish my agents would just figure it out. Yeah. Meaning she didn't want to get in and do the training. She doesn't want to shadow calls. She doesn't want to sit down and meet with her agents and focus on that. She was like, I just want them to figure it out. And my thought was, well, if they could figure it out, they'd be in your position, right? Exactly. The reality is a team needs a coach. A team needs a leader. A team needs a captain. And what's nice is when you have REDX, as a team leader, you can offload a little bit of that training onto REDX to make it easier so that you can stay in production as a team leader. Absolutely. If that's and focus there if that's where you're still at, or focus on improving the systems that help your agents be better, and let REDX take care of the prospecting training.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on these pieces of training that we offer to any of our team members. So if you would like to get your team on our team's platform, give us a call, sign up through our website. It'll all be in the description, and happy prospecting.